call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
What up? Welcome back once again to the Necro Zoo. I am Bone. And in this one, let's go ahead and add one more figure to my McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. Now today we will take a look at another figure from the collector's edition from McFarlane. Now this is going to be Lightning Lad. Now, a couple of interesting things with this one, and that is that this is the first collector's edition that I did find at Walmart. Now, I found him about a week ago, and it's the only time I've seen him at Walmart, but I do have the receipt. He did cost $29.98 plus tax, but it was rather interesting that I just did my video on if Walmart was not stocking DC Multiverse anymore. And somebody in the comment section did mention that Lightning Lad was starting to appear at Walmart. Now, this is pretty strange because for the most part, pretty much since the beginning of the collector's edition, you never see them at Walmart. You see them at Target slightly, but you mainly see them at Best Buy and also at GameStop. So pretty interesting. I was surprised to come up on him in the toy aisle. So surprised that I didn't even get any footage of finding him, but I did find him in your regular toy aisle with the rest of the DC Multiverse. But of course, it was the only one there. Now, of course, this character goes way back even to the Legion of Superheroes. He's one of the core members. Very different version of him, although they do address that in Lease, but we'll talk about that later on. Now, he does look pretty heroic in the packaging, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at him. Now, first, he does come with your standard black DC Multiverse stand. Only difference being this is a collector's edition, so it does have a silver stamped DC logo. Now, of course, these are not really needed, but sometimes they do come in useful. Now, you also come with a data file card. On the front, you have an image of this version of the character. Of course, he was race swap, changed to a different race originally. He's like a redhead, young teen. And now, of course, in this day and age, they made him into a redheaded black teen, which, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me at all. You can have different iterations of characters. It just depends on what you enjoy more. But pretty cool image. On the back, you do have some information. Now, Garth being a pretty interesting name, but we'll hold on to that. Now, as far as accessories, he does come with two smaller electrical effects. To put these where you please. As everybody knows, I'm not a big fan of electrical effects, but you can use them sometimes for figure photography and stuff like that. You get two larger ones. Pretty cool. We'll add that to the collection. Now, this is the first time that I'm going to look at a DC figure from McFarlane that has faceplates. Now, they did give us two alternate faceplates, although it's pretty hard to distinguish what the difference is. The way I've come to look at it, one of them has like stern, more serious looking eyes, while the other one has a little bit of a derpy look to him. Not really my favorite looking faceplate, but rather interesting. Now, instead of giving alternate heads, they just make these faceplates. Now, I have to say, I wasn't really a fan of the one that came on the figure, so I did put just the regular stationary look on him, just a plain face, which really works a lot better. And these are a little bit hard to switch in and out, so we'll probably take a look at that later on, but we'll hold on to these. Something new from McFarlane, something that I'm not too sure if I like it or not, but we'll see in the future. And of course, you get the alternate of the original version of this character. Now, he did wear a more modern costume at some point in time, so you could put this head on this body and just say that's your Lightning Lad. Although the platinum version of this figure is the original comic accurate look of the figure, the way the uniform is designed and painted is a lot more recognizable to classic collectors and old school collectors. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't even know that this character was, flipped races, but it's not a big deal. You can have them in your collection if you like. You can put this alternate head and go back to a more original look, but it's, up to you what you want to do. Now, I do feel that that is kind of a contentious topic, and that is that don't really think this figure will be selling a lot. I mean, right now, since it's hot and people are looking for it, you'll pay a higher price on the secondary market. But once it starts getting out there, once people start getting it, I'm pretty sure this is going to go down fairly quickly in price. Right now, you're looking at maybe 50, something like that, 40. And when you're looking for the platinum, you're going to be paying more like 70, 80. And this goes back to the advice that I have always given you. If you don't need this for your to review for your channel, if you're not dying, if you don't need this, if this isn't one of your all-time favorite characters, just wait. Keep your eye on the price on the secondary market. Keep your eye out when you're hunting. You may find it in the wild, but let the price get to a more reasonable price. There's no reason that you must have everything or be the first to have everything. It's just not plausible and really not smart. So, like, I want the original classic suit, but I know that I can wait and hold off and get it. It's not going to be the end of the world if I don't get it. But eventually, I know I will. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at this figure now. First impressions, looks standard, okay, not a big deal. Nothing, as I said before, that you're going to really, really want to add to your collection, but it is nice to have. Now, if anybody has been following me, they know I really enjoy this John Kent body book. They've used it more than enough times. I mean, it's your typical slim, younger teen body, for McFarlane. But there's a couple of things I don't really understand and I'm not a fan of, but also it doesn't hurt this figure at all. But for first impressions, definitely looks like what you see when you look in the comic. The material of this character, just offhand, it looks correct. I will go through this really quick because, of course, we've looked at this body a long time. Any little things that I notice, I will tell you. But first off, you, of course, have all of the old design lines from the John Kent. You have the neckline, you have the lines that go down the shoulder, and you have the lines at the bottom of the cuff of the suit. Now, pretty much we should be, not pleased about this, but I do have to say that this, design of this character, little lines really add to it. It doesn't take anything away. In fact, it adds a little bit of style lines. You just, it's not perfect, but you can see where this more modern suit would have added little details that you wouldn't see right away. You'd have to look closely at it and capture these little added, design lines on the costume. So I'm not too bummed out about it, but they do have the legs from the ambush bug figure, and that is a clean sculpt. It doesn't have any lines. So I just don't understand why they wouldn't just use those legs. But it's also not worth it to worry about it. Pretty cool. Let's take a look at the head sculpt. Now, this is another thing that not too sure of. The faceplate thing, I mean, they're very hard to switch out. They do have a little plug like right in the middle of the forehead. And if that were ever to snap when you're taking this off and on, that's going to be a bigger problem. So that's one of my worries, that they didn't make it really simple to be able to pop these off and on. It is slightly difficult. Now you can switch them and get that weird, head on there, that weird faceplate on there. But I do prefer this more standard neutral head, so I'm just going to keep this one permanently. I don't really see myself using that slightly angrier face or even the derpy face. Just not something I'm a big fan of. But they did capture the look of the character. Now, one thing I will say is the way the faceplate looks, it kind of gives me a little bit of like uncanny valley where you can't really, kind of looks like like a cyborg or like a robot. Like it's a person, but it gives off a little bit of weird vibes. So I don't know if that's just a me thing, but it does kind of clash a little bit. You can see the line where the faceplate is slightly, and that kind of gives it a different look. But for all intents and purposes, it is fine. Pretty nice face sculpt, though. I will give them that. You got some nice shading and toning on the lips, and it is accurate to the comics. Take a look at the articulation. He does look down very well. Looks up good enough. You got right to left. And of course, you could tilt his head for some attitude. So, pretty good. Not too bad. It does work well with this figure. Going down it, they do have some very nice painted lines on the costume for the design. So, I will give them that very clean paint down into the trunks. You got the waist articulation, very nice and smooth. He does have a slight forward crunch, more than usual for these figures, so that is nice. Of course, you can lean them back as well. No big deal. Take a look at the shoulder. You do have that socket and bushing shoulder joint. All the same movements that we have come to expect from Farland. Let's go down and take a look at the thighs. He does have some thigh swivel, which of course means he can move his leg from side to side without having a thigh cut. Kicks up pretty nicely, kicks back very far. Now, of course, this is due to the trunks being made of rubber, and when you put them back, they go back to their original shape. Double jointed knees. I mean, everything is the same. It's pretty smooth. Lower body, once again, as I said, you got the detailed sculpt at the bottom, and then you have the typical John Kent shoes, which have been on all these figures. Nothing exciting or new in that area. Take a look at the back. Once again, clean sculpt, clean paint, clean design. You could just see those, original design lines in the costume into the back. Another thing I want to talk about, of course, is the hands. Now, once again, McFarlane has not given us any extra hands with this collector's edition. I mean, the face plates and the extra head and the electric effects, that's fine. But a character like this definitely needs to have two fists. Now, this is for figure photography and displaying him. The open John Kent hand, I'm not a big fan of, but it's, something else. At least it mixes it up. But this definitely should have came with at least two open hands and two fisted hands. Now, you know me, I could not let this slide, and I had to go ahead and make him an alternate fist. Now, I have tons of fists because I've done tons of custom work with John Kent and also with the Jim Gordon, his Batman figure. So I have tons of these alternate right fists. So very simply, you can pop off his hand and pop in this new fist that I made him that I had to match the paint. Now, in this new packaging with the faceplates, they are adding these little covers that come with the figure in the package. I did use one of these to mix up some paint. It was kind of like a bluish white, and then I did see a hint of purple hue, so I had to add that in there. He has like a dark blue dot on the back of his hand, so that was a little bit of a challenge. But once I got it together, it is very satisfying to have an alternate fist for this figure. So pretty cool. I mean, that's a quick little thing you can do just to spice it up. But I really feel like McFarlane should make it standard to have at least 2 fists and 2 open hands with all the collector's edition. Now, not really any comparisons. We do know this guy is a Legionnaire, so there's tons of characters that McFarlane can still make. You have like the Cosmic Kid, Spitfire, Invisible Boy, Matter Eating Lad, which is pretty kooky character. But all of these, of course, were in the Legion of Superheroes. Now, the only figure I have of Lightning Lad is from the Mattel set that I have here behind me. Now, I wasn't going to fish him out, especially since I never really opened that, so it's kind of still sealed. But I do own the figure. So I ended up deciding to put him up with Black Lightning. Now, there is a, meme or, joke that goes around that a lot of black superheroes use electricity, and these guys match up pretty close together. So I'm not so sure why they needed to race swap this character. It was something that was not needed because you already have Black Lightning and Static Shock. So I mean, it's just kind of redundant to me when they do stuff like this. That's why another reason why I just really don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Now, one cool thing is you do have these alternate hand effects from Black Lightning, and these do slip pretty simply onto this figure. You can pop off the hand and give them this electrical effect hand. If you want to do that, there's a fist also, so you could have both hands lit up with energy. But I just thought that was something cool you could do to add a little bit more flavor to this figure. Now, of course, you can switch out the alternate head and put it on this body and just say it's a more modern looking original Lightning Lad. But I, for one, am not going to do that. I'm going to leave this one just like this, the way he is. This will be, my modern Lightning Lad. And when I finally eventually do pick up the platinum version, that'll be the one that has the original Garth head on him. So not a big deal. It'll happen. I have a lot of patience, so I know it'll happen when it'll happen. But you guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.